Thank you for listening and welcome to the Live Podcast, a proud member of the Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network. I'm your host, Don Smith. Filmmaker Joseph Cox joins me in the studio alongside award-winning actress Sydney Vollmer. We talk about creative, scripted improv and many other important things. If you enjoy the show, like and follow the Life 1069 on Facebook and Don Smith Comedy on Twitter, or tune in live on Wednesdays from noon to 2 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can stream the show live at wwsu1069.org.
The brutal presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.
All right, it is Wednesday. It is noon-ish, as usual. I'm your host, Don Smith. This is the Life Radio Show. I hope everybody's having a better week than me, because I want to tell you about my week a little bit. Before we get started, I threw my back out Saturday, which is bad enough, you know, when you throw your back out. I was doing some work at the club and reached around for something and twisted, and it felt like somebody was jabbing a dagger in my back. So I decided, once I crawled out of the restroom and, you know, made it back to the showroom to get to my phone. But come Sunday, I was in really bad shape, and I could hardly walk, and I thought, if I'm this bad Monday, I'm going to call into work and go to the doctor. Because I always try to avoid the doctor. Doctors are usually bad news. So Monday, I could barely get out of bed. I couldn't walk around without a cane. You know, just everything hurt. You know, and I couldn't even put shoes on. I had to wear slippers because I couldn't even reach down to tie my shoes. So I went to the doctor, and as I'm sitting in the waiting room of the doctor, this couple walks in and goes up to the counter. Now, I didn't see their face. I just see them from the back as they're standing at the window, and she's gorgeous, you know, the woman of the couple. And I'm thinking, wow, that's you know, I'm going to check it out. I wasn't like creepy or I wasn't Louis C.K. in it or anything. I was just I was just checking it out. Well, she turns around, and I graduated high school with her. Same age as me, you know, and she's there with her 17-year-old son. I thought they were a couple. This is how she looked at 41 years old. She's 41, I'm 41. We both graduated high school in 95. I don't want to say that she looks like she hasn't aged a day, but what little age she has allowed to touch her has been so kind that she actually looked about 10 times better than she did in high school. And she was pretty then. And my first thought was, well, I should say hi. And then I thought, wait a minute. I'm sitting here unkempt. I feel like hell. My back's out. I'm walking around with a cane. I got a face full of gray beard hair. I'm probably 120 pounds heavier than I was in high school. And I'm wearing slippers because I can't tie my shoes. I look like I just escaped from a assisted living facility, and any minute now they're going to drop an Amber Alert for a missing adult. I did not say hi. So, Jess, if you're listening, I wasn't trying to be rude. I was just trying to be incognito. Not my best of moments right there. But that's painted the rest of my week. So the rest of my week can't possibly get any worse, but at the same time, that's a bad way to start. I forgot all about my back pain at that moment. That was the least of my worries. Anyway, I'm in the studio. My guests are already in. Joseph Cox, filmmaker extraordinaire, I've been told. He said so himself. And
that's generous. I'm generous to myself, I guess.
Well, hey, if nobody else will be, you might as well. And sitting next to him is actress Sydney Vollmer. Vollmer?
Yes,
okay.
Vollmer.
I got it right. Well, welcome to the show. I'm sorry I had to go on a little rant, just talking about how terrible
enjoyable.
my Monday was.
Your back was healed, man. It's miraculous.
It was just like the Lord himself reached down and smacked me on the back and said, "There, you're still old and ugly, so don't bother talking to her."
He's telling you to keep your back straight, man. Look good.
Yeah, that's what it was. I straightened my back up and everything popped back into place, and I was fine.
Doctor said nothing's wrong with you, man.
No, but don't worry if I seem a little loopy. I am on some muscle relaxers and some of those kind of things today, and I have to go to work at 3:00. So.
Perfect.
But it's good to have you guys in the studio. I want to start off with you, Joe. What have you been working on? What's going on?
Well, earlier this summer, actually, Sydney and I collaborated, and we worked on the 48-hour film project in Cincinnati, and we made a film called The Windows Are Always Clean in Portland. And yes, it does sound pretentious, and that was the point. It was my way of kind of poking fun at the indie films that kind of take themselves really too seriously.
There are a lot of those.
Yeah, we did. We teamed up with producer John Newkirk, and we actually won the Cincinnati 48-hour film project.
Oh, awesome.
And that film is going to go on to Filmapalooza in Paris this March, which is a lot of fun. And Sydney actually won Best Supporting Actress in that festival.
I did.
Excellent.
You did.
Award winners. You might want to pull that mic a little
thank you.
closer.
That's right. So currently...
It's so seldom we get people that actually win things in here.
That's right, yeah.
I think that was my my second or third award.
Yeah, you got some for Ellie, didn't you?
Yeah, I've had a few.
Wow.
And then right now we're in the midst of releasing our web series Ground Rules for Living with Your Ex, which also stars Sydney. And that was created by Jared Pettit, who is our writer friend in New York, and he's her co-star. And you can actually find that on YouTube right now. It's Average Joe Films Ground Rules for Living with Your Ex. And there are currently 5 episodes out. The 6th episode released today, and it should be available right now online.
Cool.
And the finale of the season is next week.
So what's the show about? I mean,
So-
without any spoilers.
Yeah.
I mean, and the title pretty much gives a lot of it away.
It does.
but-
It does. So it's about these two people who they are, like everybody, have a flawed relationship, and they're trying to coexist because they're too selfish to move out after breaking up. And each episode is, coming up with a new ground rule for living with your ex, because things obviously get complicated when you're with somebody you've cared about for so long. So there's a little bit of drama, a lot of humor, and there's a really fun dynamic between Jared and Sydney. I think they played off each other very, very well.
Cool. That's always good to have a good dynamic.
Yeah. And so I think my character, she's kind of uptight. She's the girl that's had things planned out in her life. She works at a good job, but her boyfriend's a goofball, and she loves it until he's not following her plan, and that kind of derails things for her. But at the same time, she still really cares about him, so she's juggling this, I really want my life to go this certain way, and he's not giving that to me, versus, but I still really care about him, and I also don't see him with anyone else but me.
So she has that planned out too.
Yeah. She plans the
advice to
breakout.
him would be to run.
Run as fast as you
she
can.
does create a list, of rules for them living together after they're broken up. So
One of them was do not eat my pudding. That was actually one of the rules.
I think
That always should be a rule.
Yeah.
It should-
It's my pudding.
yeah.
another rule was that my character gets to watch 2 hours of Shark Tank every
Shark
day.
Tank every night. And that was added on set because I had been watching reruns of Shark Tank on YouTube, actually. And my wife was making fun of me for it. And so I was like, well, I'm going to make this character watch Shark Tank all the time.
I've never watched it. So.
It's actually kind of fun. I really
Does
enjoy
it?
watching it.
I've heard of it, but like many things, I've heard of them and I haven't watched it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, kind of like doing independent film. A lot of people have heard of them. They just haven't watched it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I was doing some filming this past weekend. I made a comment about that because I was doing it as me, as the host of the show, and that was one of the things I said. Is you might also remember me from several micro-budget, locally produced independent films you've never seen, but tell all your friends you watch so you can feel artsy.
That is the best description of the local film scene I've ever heard.
Very true.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah, people ask me, like, have you heard of this film? I said, yeah, I have. They said, have you watched it? I was like, I don't know if it ever got released.
There have been so many that have not gotten released. See,
Yeah.
I've been lucky lately. There for a while, I had a run of them that I was involved in that never really got released. In fact, my first lead in a film, it just crumbled. It got made. Everything got completed, and then the director, his computer crashed, and he lost most of the footage and never felt like picking it up again. So
Let this be a lesson.
Man.
Back up all of your files.
yeah,
Always.
absolutely.
Have a good filing system. Back it up. And back up your backups. Because you never know.
Oh yeah,
You never know.
But yeah, that seems to be there for a while with independent film. That was what I saw as a lot of never getting finished.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, the past couple of years, I've been involved with a lot of directors that absolutely do get their films finished, and usually, almost without fail, they've gotten picked up by a distributor. So
That's awesome.
And
That's really cool.
I don't want
90%
to.
of the
I don't
battle.
want to say it's because of me.
But you're not saying.
But I'm not.
Don,
I'm not
somebody
not
has to be
saying.
on that box, and it's going to be you.
I have never made it on the box.
When I see you on the box, I'm going to buy that at Walmart.
That's not true. I did make it on the box of 6 Feet Below Hell.
Oh, yeah.
Reggie did make it on the box cover.
You worked with Brittany Picard on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brittany is awesome. She is absolutely one of my favorite people to work with.
I can understand that. Yeah, she's very, very professional and very good at what she does.
She actually was the star in my science fiction film earlier this year called The Present.
Oh, really?
It was a Christmas science fiction comedy about time travel, and it was ridiculous, and she is hilariously awesome in it.
Now, did I see you're doing some work with Doug Lowe
Yes,
right
I
now
am.
as well? Because I actually years ago I knew him in like school.
Doug is awesome. He is a stage actor who just recently started acting on screen, and it was a shock to me. I didn't know until after we had already wrapped his scenes, and he told me that it was his first time screen acting, and I was shocked because he was phenomenal.
Yeah,
He was a
he
lot of
was
fun to work with.
he was involved with the Unwritten podcast because I hadn't seen him in years, and I ran into him in there. It's like, I know you, don't I?
Yeah, Doug's great. We're working on a science fiction noir type film right now. We're about halfway through. We'll be wrapping it up probably after the new year. And Doug plays a very shady character, and it's really cool. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Can't tell you much about it right now.
Oh, okay. Well, of course not. Of course
It's a
not.
secret. Mum's the word, man.
Confidential.
Yeah.
Stop pushing me, Don.
I'm sorry I even brought it up. What was I thinking? I should be fired from this show right now.
It's great. Sydney, you take over.
Yeah, it's your guys' show.
Sit
I'm
up
out.
there now.
So, what all have you been up to, Sydney?
What
we'll
all
switch to
have
you.
I
we
been up to?
concentrated
Yeah,
over
Joe,
there.
we've talked enough about you,
Taking
man.
up all the airtime and all the
Jeez.
space.
So yeah, I am.
See, I put you on the spot, man.
Yes, you did. I'm a Cincinnati-based actress, and I've been doing work for like 3.5 years, probably. Right now, I'm doing a lot of work with an improv company in Cincinnati called Improv Cincinnati.
Oh, very creative.
Yes,
For an improv
exactly.
company.
But they're right now the busiest
They just
thing.
came up with it on the fly. It wasn't scripted.
It was improv.
Yep.
Well, coincidentally, their name used to be Coincidence Improv, and then they wanted something that was more recognizable and Googleable.
Googleable. Is that a word?
Google.
It's a word
It's
now.
a word today.
It's a word
Googleable.
today.
Yeah, that's not that.
I
Googleable.
improvised
Just take
it.
some practice.
Don't you see how well I'm doing with improv? No, but so I help them with a lot of their marketing because that's actually what my degree is in. So I take classes there. I'm on a team there. But right now they're really busy. They're doing a holiday show that's scripted, and it's a Stranger Things parody. So
That's scripted for an
Mm-hmm.
improv troupe.
well, they wanted to do something like a sketch. So it's like
okay.
a sketch holiday show. And it has musical numbers and I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but it sounds very interesting.
It does. Except
it
the
called?
musical numbers.
It's called Holiday at Hoppers. And their first show is Friday at 8. But it got sold out, so they added another show.
Well, that's awesome.
pretty
Do they
cool.
Do they get licensing stuff from like?
No, they don't have to because it's a parody.
Oh, because it's a parody.
It's a
Okay,
parody.
Cool. That's what I was just
So-
thinking. I was like, that would be a legal nightmare.
Nope.
I guess
It's a
you can
parody,
you
so
can
it's
parody
fine.
anything.
Yeah, you can. I'm gonna parody Don.
Yeah.
I think more people should. I'm a parody of myself, actually. This isn't really me. That's the only way I could keep from getting sued.
That's right.
Parodying myself. Because I'm kind of a jerk when it comes to, lawyering up.
I will represent myself.
Yes, exactly. I will represent myself against myself, suing myself for portraying myself.
That just got complicated.
So will you also be judging the case?
Well, yeah, of
Okay.
course.
Coming in 2018, directed by Joseph Cox,
Yeah,
starring Don
as himself.
as himself. He will sue himself.
Exactly. Fortunately, I know I'm broke, so I'm not asking for much.
Just want that dollar, right?
That's my last one. I gotta have it. I need to go. I hit the dollar menu actually. Anyway, I think I think all that shenanigans. I'm going to do the comedy rundown. We're going to hit a song and take a little break. But first, the comedy rundown for this week brought to you by the legendary Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street in downtown Dayton's historic Oregon District. Call 224-JOKE or go to wileyscomedy.com for all the best in local comedy. Thursday through Sunday, December 7th through the 10th, Drew Lynch is going to be at the Dayton Funny Bone at 88 Plum Street at the Green. Friday, December 8th, there's going to be a comedy showcase at Wiley's Comedy Club. Saturday the 9th, Todd McComas is at Wiley's Comedy Club. Sunday, December 10th, Comics Hang and Workshop at 5 p.m. at Wiley's Comedy Club, and followed by Wiley's annual Toy Drive comedy show is going to be at Wiley's Comedy Club at 8 p.m. That is it. As always, check out wileyscomedy.com and DaytonFunnyBone.com for details and tickets to upcoming shows. Also, be sure to check out the Unwritten Podcast from Dayton Writers Movement. Almost got that out all the way. Dayton Writers Movement at unwrittenpodcast.com. And here's a little Potter's Field, and we'll be back here shortly.
Nothing There's a reason they call them lazy Sundays. There's nothing better than sitting around and enjoying the comforts of a good book. But what book should that be? Well, every Sunday, Eventide brings you The Bookseller, hosted by Jessica Gillen. Each week, Jessica breaks down a different book and tells you everything you need to know before cracking it open and getting lost in a whole new world. Tune in every Sunday for The Bookseller with Jessica Gillen, brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Okay, we're back. See, I almost missed it. I was messing with my phone. Almost missed it coming back. We almost just sat here in silence the rest of the time without the rest of the show happening.
Never text and host, Don.
I know. I'm a terrible host. That's the problem. That's the problem. I've been doing this for 3 years, and I haven't learned a dang thing, except not to say what I was about to say. That's the
That's
the only
right.
thing I've learned. But, yeah, well,
Nice
it's... Anyway, we're back. This is the Life Radio Show. Let me put my phone down and concentrate on this show. This is the Life Radio Show, and if anybody's listened to my show before, you expect me to be distracted and kind of stupid. So we're right on track. We are right. Still sitting in the studio with Joseph Cox and Sidney Vollmer. How's it going, guys? What did we miss? Did we figure anything out during the break?
We figured out that we just met a guy who watched 40 Nick Cage films.
Yes.
In the last year,
Kyle
so-
Steele stopped by from the Nicolas Cage Movie Review Hour podcast.
And I didn't know whether to be excited or sad. I really wasn't sure.
It's sometimes around Kyle, it's hard to say. It's hard,
Well, not because
it
of Kyle,
depends.
just
Right,
Nick
right.
Cage films in general.
Yeah, well, he just released the podcast with me on there where we got to sit down and watch Bangkok Dangerous, which let me tell you was fantastic in its terribleness.
Yeah. And it's terrible.
Yes.
Was it The Room level terrible?
Close. It was real close.
Really?
That's hard to do.
I actually have The Room on DVD, and that to me cracks me up.
That is cinema gold right there.
It is.
Beautiful.
Anytime you have to make a movie about how bad another movie is, because the Disaster Artist they're making right now about Tommy Wiseau's Room.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, get on YouTube and just look up the highlights.
And not to be confused
Unless
with
you're
the
a
Academy
chicken.
Award-winning film
Yep.
Room.
Yes.
Very different movie.
Unless you're a chicken, cheap, 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 cheap.
My favorite part about them making The Disaster Artist is that Tommy Wiseau thought that The Room was Oscar worthy when he made it, and now the movie about how bad it was is actually Oscar worthy. It's my favorite part.
I really want the Academy to let Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero present an award this year. They've got to let them do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That would just be amazing. It would be the most.
know.
I mean, do they want the ratings to go up or not?
But say what you will about how terrible it is, because it was bad, but he got it out there, and it's probably one of the most famous terrible low budget movies there are.
Yeah, I mean, you have to respect that they were willing to, follow the dream and spend $6 million on a film that didn't make any money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Hollywood studios who make films that I would say are worse than The Room, and they spend a lot more and lost a lot more.
That is true.
The Room at least has rewatch value.
After all, we were just talking about Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, right.
Because it costs way more than $6 million just to get him to do a movie.
It does.
Yeah,
And,
he's expensive.
It's not much better.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of Nicolas Cage, because I've been on the Movie Review Hour podcast twice now. Once he came in and took over my radio show, and we had a long discussion about Con Air, or as I like to call it, Forrest Gump Goes to Prison, for a couple reasons, because I don't know if you knew this, but I didn't know it until I rewatched it before we did the episode. Bubba is in Con Air.
Is he really?
He plays his friend on the plane that gets shot and falls into Nick Cage's arms in a scene that I was just waiting for Nick Cage with the bad accent that he had to just look at him and go, "Bubba, you got shot." Because Nicolas Cage had a gumpy accent for that film. So
Nick Cage, he's hit or miss, man.
He's hit or miss or miss or miss.
Yeah, is he brilliant or is he a little over the top? I don't know. Raising Arizona is about the only Nick Cage film I just absolutely adore, but that's just because I'm a Coen Brothers fan. I don't know if it's because it's Nick Cage.
Yeah, I've seen a couple that old Nick Cage was in that I liked, but for the most part, nah, not a fan.
I
But
was-
I do enjoy the Nicolas Cage movie review hour podcast because you get to find out how bad other people think his movies are.
Wow.
I was
And
actually a stand-in on one of his movies that shot here last year.
Oh, really?
I didn't get to meet him, but some of my friends did. It was interesting. So if you should put Inconceivable on your watch list.
Okay. Well,
For the
did you let
movie
Kyle
review.
know?
I didn't know.
Oh, that should have been brought up.
It
'cause-
should have.
Should have been.
Yeah, you'll have to get a hold of him and
I
be
will.
a guest on his show.
I want to know what Nick Cage is like when you meet him. Is like because I kind of
know.
assume he would be like somebody's divorced dad. Like when you meet him, he's just kind of he's there, and you've not seen him since 2 Christmases ago, and he's been on a business trip to Vegas supposedly. And when you meet him, you're like, hey, and he's just like, hey, what's your name? Even when
Be
he's
all
seen you
Nick
before.
Cagey.
It's kind of I imagine Nick Cage to feel and look like, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know.
I was going to ask you, but you said you
I
didn't meet him.
didn't meet him. No.
Did you see him from afar? Did he
No,
seem
I
that
didn't.
way?
So the interesting thing was he is one of the stars in the movie, but he was only on set for 3 or 4 days. They filmed all of his stuff because he had to move on to another project.
They just wanted his face on the box.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's all
Better
about.
than Don's face on the box.
No, it's not. Actually.
I'll put your face on my box.
I mean,
you don't even have to be in the movie.
Yeah, that sounded really bad.
Out of
actually.
context, I'm not sure.
At the end of all my podcasts, I take a clip out of the show and I tag it at the end of my podcast, like after you listen to the outro. It's going to say, I'm going to put your face on my box.
Please,
That's
dude.
what-
Just send me that soundbite because that might just be my theme from now on.
Yep,
my
yep.
gosh.
That's going to be your little tag at the end of your. It'll be part of your logo for the.
Bigfoot insert in mouth.
Yeah, that's you never know which direction this show's going to go.
You don't.
Sometimes your face ended up on a box and you didn't even
That's
know.
right, man.
And I guess it's better than a milk carton.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Do they put faces on milk cartons anymore?
I don't know. Do
Do
they
people
make-
drink
yeah.
milk carton out of milk
Do
cartons
people drink
anymore?
milk cartons?
Do they at
Could
school
be,
anymore?
yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, they still had milk cartons at school.
I don't know.
Yeah. They had the little ones. They didn't.
Yeah, the
they
little
didn't they didn't put the faces of missing children on your school lunch milk carton.
I kind of wish they
That'd be a
did.
bad move, you know?
Yeah, because I mean,
That'd be-
but I would have used it as a disciplinary action. I've been like, "You're acting up, man. This kid acted up too.
Yep.
See him? This is Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny used to go here."
Yeah, you have to suspend one of them. You put their face on the milk carton
Right.
for all the rest of the school to see at lunch.
Instead
I
of,
think our
about
discipline
Student
problems
of
would be
the
over.
month, you have milk carton of the month.
The worst student gets put on the milk carton after
man.
getting
That's-
suspended.
Man, I would be on a lot of milk cartons. a lot more than I would movie boxes, that's for sure.
I
Not
know
if
some
Joe
teachers
was
who I think would
making
like
milk
that. but-
What's that?
Not if Joe was making the milk cartons.
That's true.
You'd
That's
be,
true, yeah.
you'd
That's
be on all
true.
of them.
You'd be on a box, not the milk
Yeah,
carton.
I'd be on the box that the milk cartons were in. That's it. See, you've never seen any of my movies either. I'm just kidding. Nobody has.
Yeah, it's true.
Although I will say, 6 Feet Below Hell, man, they just wrapped up a month at Redbox.
Right on. How'd that go?
Apparently good enough, or not a month, 6 months. They were on there 6 months.
6 months.
So, yeah,
Wow.
6 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did they release it as a Redbox original?
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't hear how well that went. I don't think Brittany even told me about that. I heard about it secondhand from somebody else, and I've worked with her multiple times. Brittany, if you're listening, I see how it is. Thought we were friends.
So you didn't hear that it was out there, or she didn't tell you
I didn't
about
know
being
it was
part
out there.
of it?
No, I knew she
Okay.
was in that, but I
Oh,
didn't know it had got picked up by Redbox until just a few days ago. Somebody.
Oh
told me.
yeah, back in beginning of June.
Yeah.
So,
I would have
I knew
actually. I
that.
would have spent $1 just to see it. I would.
Well, I believe you can actually buy the movie now.
Really.
Yeah,
I will have.
since it's no longer on Redbox.
I don't know if I would like it enough to buy it. I
Oh, it's great. It's great. You'd love it.
Dom's face is on the
yeah.
box.
Dom's face is on the
My
box.
face is
I
on the
want
box
it for my
yeah.
collection.
Yeah, Reggie. That's my character, and that was Reggie.
My wife's gonna wonder why this DVD is sitting up on a pedestal in my office. She's like, Don's face is on the box. You don't
Yeah,
understand.
It'll be framed. There it is. There it is.
My wife's very concerned if she's listening right now. She's afraid that's actually going to be on my office table when I get home.
Yep, he's framing his face and putting his face on his box. That's just not right. So where do we go from here? I guess we could hit a few news stories. If you guys do you guys got other things to talk about, or?
Oh, we can hit the news stories.
Okay. We can hit a few news stories.
Buy some time.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes to kill.
That's right.
Oh, let's see. What should we cover here? Comic actor Sacha Baron Cohen has offered to pay fines for 6 Czech tourists who were reportedly detained by authorities in Kazakhstan's capital Astana for dressing up in his character Borat. Sporting lime green mankinis and black wigs, the men had hoped to take a picture in front of the I Love Astana sign earlier this month, but local police fined them some $68 each for committing minor hooliganism, according to local media. In a Facebook post on Tuesday, Sacha Baron Cohen said, to my Czech mates who were arrested, send me your details and proof that it was you, and I'll pay your fine. So
minor hooliganism.
Minor hooliganism.
Is that like an actual charge?
It should be.
It is today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm calling my congressman.
Well, this is over in the Czech Republic too, so
it should be here.
Yeah, it should be absolutely.
Minor hooliganism.
You imagine how many times I'd get fined?
I've been convicted of tomfoolery and minor hooliganism.
Jocularity in the first degree.
Yeah, I think that's what Louis C.K. No, wait, that's different. That's not jocularity.
Oh, geez. What do you say after that?
What's that?
This conversation's derailed.
Welcome to the Life Radio Show. You didn't listen to any of the former episodes, did you?
I listened to them.
That's a tell right there. That's a tell. If you had listened, you would have known derailed is usually how we end up. Most of the time, how we start.
Now, Sydney is actually, she's not bragged on herself enough, but she's gotten some awards for a short film she was in called Ellie, which has been traveling around. It's a horror film.
It is, which is funny because I don't watch horror films ever because I don't like being scared. But yeah, I was very scared in the making of this film. It's about a college girl who very intelligently agrees to be part of a found footage project by her film professor. Says we're gonna put cameras in your apartment and then we're gonna try to scare you to death, but don't worry, you're not gonna get hurt. Well, things don't go as planned. Dun dun dun.
They never do.
They never do. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
It's kind of a weird relationship to have with your professor too.
It is.
Really
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Well, so the thing was, I was just like a really quiet student who was really good at school, and so he wanted someone who was quiet and unassuming for the role. But it was actually a role that was written for me, so that was pretty cool.
I did not know that.
You didn't? Yeah, I auditioned for a different project that the director was doing, and I didn't fit for that role, but he really liked my audition, so he wrote that specifically for me, and in March, it's going to be part of a feature film.
Cool.
It's going to be the opening scene of his feature based on that initial story.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. So you're actually, are you reprising your role?
I am. Yeah, I'm reprising. So my name will go from Ellie to Kelly. I don't know why, but the K for kill, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's called Final Cut, and it'll be shooting in March.
Not to be confused with Final Cut Pro, the
right.
editing software.
Yes.
Exactly.
Or the Final Cut with Robin Williams.
It's the origin story of Final Cut Pro.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's how they invented it.
Well, it is about film students, so
Yeah, I mean it is. Yeah, that's all I could think of when I heard the title. But I know Jeff's gonna make something great out of that.
Yeah. So my role has been likened to Drew Barrymore in Scream. So that's kind of to give you an idea of what my role is.
Are you allowed to talk anymore about that?
I don't know. I don't
About
think
Drew
so.
Barrymore?
Yeah, about Drew Barrymore.
Okay.
Like,
She's blonde and
she's still
got
around.
this new show on. Yeah. Santa Clarita Diet.
What? I haven't heard about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like
Oh, I think I've heard
kind
it.
of
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
kind of a zombie, but it's like a comedic
She's a zombie. Like
Yeah.
Comedic zombie?
Yeah, like she craves human flesh, but she's still going about living her daily life. I haven't seen it. This is just what my sister told me.
Oh,
that just sounds like what's going on with men in Hollywood.
Yeah, pretty close, pretty close.
They were inspired by the making of this series. I don't want to say that. No.
yeah. That's going to derail again.
We're back to milk cartons.
Yeah. That's never good to see. Yeah, now we're derailed by you. Usually, I'm the one derailing my own show.
That's right.
Which
So
is my business. If I want my own train wreck of a show to get derailed, that's up to me.
Stop derailing
I'm
shows,
sorry.
Joe.
I'm sorry. I'll just back away from the mic slowly.
Back away.
You're okay. It's just different being on this side of the train wreck. So.
That's right. Yeah, you get to watch in. You can't look away.
Yeah. They're right. You really can't. Yeah, a whole lot of shenanigans going on in Hollywood. I'm actually thinking, we were talking about acting resumes earlier, and I'm actually thinking about putting on mine, never molested anyone.
That's impressive. But what if they ask you for paperwork on that? Where's your proof?
Yeah, well, I guess that would be hard to prove.
Yeah, it is. It would be very hard to prove. That's
But the only problem is, it seems like that would actually keep you from getting cast, because that's what they all seem to go for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, never molested anybody. It's like, well, can't cast him there.
Yeah, you aren't going to be a star, son.
Indie films in the
Sorry
Midwest
about
for you.
Yeah, just stick with your indie films and your comedy shows, and if you want to be all keeping your hands to yourself like that, you're never going to make it anywhere.
Yeah,
that's bad. We just with that, we probably convinced somebody to do something they shouldn't, just so they can try to get a movie role.
We're going to lose you viewers today and listeners.
We're so sorry.
I don't have any. It's okay.
Hey, Doug is listening. I know Doug's listening.
That's true. Doug did say he was listening, or well, at least he asked a question about the show. So
he
I'm
did.
assuming that means
He didn't message me on
part,
break,
yeah.
so I see who he loves more.
Oh wow! A federal appeals court has spiked an Ohio couple's case against companies that distributed an erotic fiction book about a woman's desire for New England Patriot star Rob Gronkowski. The Sixth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruling Tuesday upheld a lower court's dismissal of the case against Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and Smashwords filed by a couple referred to as John and Jane Roe. The couple says an engagement photo that shows them embracing was pulled from their photographer's website without their knowledge and used on the cover of a Gronking to Remember.
Oh.
The book was self-published using the defendant company's online service by a male author writing under the pseudonym Lacey Noonan, according to court records.
Oh my gosh.
That's the only reason I put that article in as the news is a Gronking to Remember.
Oh man, that brings the love of football to a new level.
It does. It
really does.
Now, I've never been a Patriots fan, and now I'm definitely not.
Talk about a touchdown.
Yeah, but they're being sued because apparently this couple's wedding photo was taken offline and used as the book's cover.
Oh,
Wow.
Which that should be. I mean, maybe he could take that as a compliment that he must look like Gronk.
I guess, yeah.
But I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to ask my Patriots fan friends. I don't have any of those.
If they've read the book.
So.
Yeah, nobody should have Patriots fans as friends.
That's right.
Patriots fans shouldn't have Patriots fans as friends.
If you're a Patriots fan and you live in Ohio, you're wrong.
No, you're a bandwagon fan. See, I was an Eagles fan back when they were, not very good. And, of course, I haven't been able to watch a game all season.
They're phenomenal this year.
Until Sunday night. It was the first time I got to watch an actual Eagles game, and they lost. So,
and you were really confused when you saw Donovan McNabb was not their quarterback anymore.
That's true.
You?
I was like,
who's
who
this
is
guy?
This? That looks nothing like him.
He doesn't have an afro.
Yeah. He's not nearly as tan as I remember.
Yeah. I mean, Don, have you been out of the sun? Like, who are you?
A report of a car crashing into a pizza and ice cream shop on Long Island turned out to be a scene for a film starring Billy Crystal, who I didn't know was still making movies. Police in Long Beach tell Newsday that officers and firefighters were dispatched Monday morning after someone reported a vehicle had crashed into Slices and Ices. Police department officials say they were aware that a movie was being filmed there, but had to be sure it was not a real accident that occurred. An officer was posted at the location to direct motorists around the scene, which may have led some to believe that there had been a crash. So the police already knew that they were there filming that. They already knew they were filming a crash scene. They had an officer on site. Somebody called the police, and the police showed up.
Well, you just got to make sure.
Yeah, we just got to make sure. Is that Billy? That's Billy. That's Billy. They were wanting to go see stars.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Man, I can't. I can't wrap my head around the fact that Billy Crystal's still making movies. That's where I'm got stuck on the story.
That's the takeaway you've got.
I thought he was only voice acting now.
Where I got stuck is that I really want to go to a place called Slices and Ices. Like, that sounds
Absolutely.
amazing.
It sounds delicious.
It's like lunchtime, getting hungry.
I think we're
Slices
heading there
and
after
Ices.
this, right?
Yep,
How long of a drive
going
is it?
straight from here to Slices and Ices. See, I just wonder if that was actually the name of the real pizza place, or if that was what they called it in the movie.
It just seems too clever for Hollywood.
That's true. It's been like Pizza Boys or something.
Yeah, pizza guy.
Yeah, the pizza guy.
The pizza guy. I ordered from the pizza guy.
Yeah, or Deeds Pizza. We got time for one more news story, and then we'll let you guys say have the last word
All right.
here on the show.
I got to decide what that's going to be.
Yeah.
Intense.
Your face
Well,
on a box.
you got to pay attention to the news story first, and we'll get to that. We're gonna put you on the spot again. You're gonna have to decide quickly what you want the last word of the show to be.
It's going to be
I read this one last time. We'll move on. At least I think I did. Well, we'll do it anyway. An Oregon woman whose inmate boyfriend died from a meth-laden kiss after a prison visit and was sentenced to 2 years behind bars on Tuesday on a drug conspiracy charge. You're shaking your head. Did you hear this?
I actually heard about this, yeah.
Oh, okay. Melissa Ann Blair and Anthony Powell shared a long kiss at the end of a visit last year at the Oregon State Penitentiary, and she passed 7 tiny balloons filled with methamphetamine into his mouth. Two of the balloons ruptured in Powell's stomach a short time later, and he died of methamphetamine toxicity. U.S. District Judge Marco Hernandez said Blair's actions were part of a scheme devised by Powell and others to get drugs inside the prison. There was a dispute as to whether Blair participated of her own free will, but Powell shared responsibility for his own death. So let that be a lesson to you.
The literal kiss of death.
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
The kiss
of meth.
death.
Oh. The kiss of meth.
Oh, man. That's painful.
Yeah, well, what a way to go. All right. Well, on that note, we'll go ahead. Do you guys, what do you have coming up? We'll start with Joe. We'll get to you. What do you have coming up?
We'll start with Sydney.
Okay, we can start with Sydney.
Yeah, coming up, I have the Ellie is turning into Final Cut. That's coming up in March. I've had some auditions going on, so just fingers crossed that I get work and that it pays.
Now, do you have any social media sites you want to put out there? Get any Twitter followers?
I'm on Twitter at Sid Vortex, and then Facebook, you can just find me, Sydney Vollmer.
So I've got, obviously, Ground Rules. The finale comes out next Wednesday, and I'm really excited for that. We've got our science fiction noir film that is coming out early next year. Got a really great cast and crew. And I've also, The Windows Are Always Clean in Portland is going to make its Paris trip in March, which is really exciting because it's my first big win at a festival and getting to go to a festival and represent my home city of Cincinnati.
Cool.
Against 76 other cities all over the world, that's really exciting. You can follow me on Instagram at Joseph Cox Official. And
it's official.
Oh, it's official.
Did you name it that?
I did name it that because there were multiple Joseph Coxes, and I had to act like I was important enough to be official.
They were not official.
They haven't verified me yet, though.
Oh. I forgot my
imposter
Instagram.
Coxes out there.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of imposter Coxes. All kinds. All kinds.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah,
just
check
go
out
to the rail right at the end of the show.
Yeah.
One more
But
time.
yeah,
Oh, I forgot my Instagram. It's
your
really
Instagram.
simple. It's Volmer Sydney.
Volmer Sydney.
I'm not
It's
official.
backwards.
Not official.
I'm not
Okay.
official.
Not official.
No.
So you could be one of the imposters.
I
for all
could
we
be.
know.
I could get
For
you
all
some
we know.
badges. Some badges will
Okay.
make you
Well, I'm
seem
going to have to
official.
see some a photo ID or something on a milk
I
carton.
think I've got my photo ID here. You can see that.
And if Don, I've got an opportunity for you. You want to join a pyramid scheme or something?
Oh, but I'm all,
Sounds great.
yeah. I gave a bunch of money to Wiley, so I'm just ready to throw everything.
Yeah, let's do
away.
it, man. So if you're listening, we're gonna start a pyramid scheme, and this is satire. So government, don't find me.
Yes.
Does it have anything to do with makeup and skincare? Because I feel like there are
No,
a
it's
lot of
just
those already.
You give me money, and your friends give you money,
oh.
and that's all it is.
Oh,
We actually
Whoa,
don't have a product.
So simple.
Oh, okay.
It's so simple.
How do I join?
I thought we were going to join the cheer squad and do a human pyramid. You
Yeah,
lost
well,
me somewhere.
Yeah, I just want to rip everybody off now.
Yeah,
No.
okay. Because if I get on top of the pyramid, it's going
No,
crazy.
I wrote an entire scene in a comedy film that hasn't been made yet that involves a guy just showing up in the middle of the night and he's trying to sign this guy up for a pyramid scheme. And you think, based on this guy's look, that he's going to be so furious about it. And it's suddenly a quick cut, just cuts of him signing all the paperwork and be like, great deal. I don't know why. I've been joking about pyramid schemes a lot lately. And
Hey, why
it's not nearly as funny as it should be.
There's still several of them out there. So, support your local pyramid scheme. Well, Sydney Volmer, Joe Cox, thanks for coming in. It was
Thanks
nice
for having
meeting
us.
you. We derailed a couple times, but we managed to keep some of our dignity,
Yeah,
which
little
is
bit.
which is rare.
Hey, I never
A
had
shred.
any to begin with, so it's okay.
So you're leaving with a little extra.
Yeah, that's right. I gained some.
Okay.
I've got a
You took
surplus of
some.
dignity today.
All right. Well, we'll probably take care of that before you even leave the studio. All right. And we will be back here shortly. Thanks for listening to the Life Podcast. Check us out on Eventide Entertainment's Podcast Network. Remember, if you want to listen live, we're on Wednesdays from noon to 2 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can always stream the show live at WWSU1069.org. If you have suggestions or comments for the show, feel free to email us at thelife1069@gmail.com.
The brutal presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.
I will represent myself.
Yes, exactly. I will represent myself against myself, suing myself for portraying myself.